5. Theoretically, District 5 would be called a canoe district, except because part of it is separated from the other part of it, especially the Kalapana OP Kau area of District 5. And it's not easy to get a canoe across the lava, but it's from Hawaiian Acres, Mauka, and then so actually Mauka Puna, and we're down in Kalapana. I happen to live in District 5 in Kalapana. I've been there for years. So anyway, we have a big crowd. They all turn out. So remember, hard questions. Ready, timer? Okay, so, oh boy, you know, when you go to school and your name starts with A, you always go first, yeah? Cherish? Huh? Oh, you didn't have to go. So she's married. Only when she got married she had to go first. So first of all, we're going to have 3-minute opening statements. And the first candidate is Cherish Almeida.
Aloha, everyone. You know, they always give us a few minutes to open, and I always tell myself, I'm going to try and tell you something new that you may not know about me, because you've heard, many of you have come before and have seen us or have come to our events and have listened to what we have to say. So I thought I'd tell you about my teenage life. As a teenager, I was very blessed as a young child. My father was in the military, so I traveled the world. And when we were 11, my father retired, and my mother said, can we come back to Hawaii, where she's from? She's from Hau'ula, Oahu. And my father said, sure. He was done with traveling. He said, let's just go somewhere where we can relax. Well, my father is Indian, Irish, Caucasian. And my mother's family is Hawaiian. And my uncles had a real issue with my dad. And we went from a stable, average, middle-class family to living on the beach and having an everyday struggle of what it was like to be homeless. I was 11 at the time, and for me, it was such a huge transition. My brother and sister were much younger, so they just thought, oh, we're camping, da-da-da-da. For me, it was a huge transition because I knew what it was to have money, I knew what it was to travel, and I knew what it was to have whatever I had asked for. And it came to a point where you don't ask for nothing. And that's something I see in Puna, with the children of Puna. I look around, you go to family luau's, you see the kids, they get the same clothes you seen in the last luau, because last luau they got new clothes. And I was just sharing with Tiffany that I got this shirt at the recycle center in Ke'au for $1. I love it. But one of my concerns for Puna is that our children don't have nothing to look forward to. They think that this is all there is out here. What Puna is all there is. So don't look forward to a future. Don't look forward to having anything more than this, because this is it. And when I speak to them, I tell them, you know, that's a lie from hell itself. And I want you to be encouraged, get educated, get encouraged to want to do more. Go to Kona, you know, go to Honaka'a, go to Oahu, go to Maui if you get the opportunity. How can we help get you there? So I'm really encouraged with the children and the youth. I do a lot of outreach with them. We just took 15 of them camping, and whew, it was the roughest 3 days of my life. I was just thinking, thank God I don't have to do this on a daily basis. But it was really encouraging. So I encourage you to get involved in a youth's life today. Mahalo.
Thank you, Terry. You know, I've been in these kind of forums, and when that stop sign come on, so you know what, finish your thought, okay? If you're in a mid-sentence, just finish your thought. We're not that strict here, so I want you to know that, okay? So next up is Daniel Cunningham.
Got it. Test it. It works. My name is Daniel Cunningham, and I came here over 1990, a new graduate from chiropractic school, and my future ahead of me. And I was very much taken in what wonderful, talented, intelligent, bright people that live here. And likewise, I'm also equally appalled at the police state that this government has become and what it's doing to paradise. I feel blessed that I read rather extensively, maybe a book every couple of days or so. And I feel blessed that I have had the time to study what the problem is. The problem is the history of hemp on a local basis. It's the structural matrix of every stable economy up until the petrodollar around the turn of the 19th century, 20th century. And it took over basically the economy of cannabis that provides approximately 2,000 purposes. There's plenty of literature to that effect. I hope that the people in the audience are well familiar with this subject. But those who aren't need to be educated on what it would do for a local economy of a nitrogen-fixing plant that grows, literally creates wealth. And the need for that on a local basis. And not only that, but also the education of understanding that nuclear is a suppressed science, and in the hands of informed people, it is a green technology that will set us free. Fukushima is going to kill an ocean. It is a military-industrial complex that has the whole problem with nuclear. And thus my platform, I wrote an ordinance by which to build a floating city in the ocean that makes use of this nuclear sewage and will clean this ocean. 50 years, if this ocean dies, people aren't going to be able to stay on this island because of the environment. You will not be able to live here. You'll have to leave. It's a very serious situation, Fukushima. And the comprehensive solution to all of our problems is in colonizing the ocean and turning trash into treasure on a mega scale. And that includes these floating trash piles. We could build a floating city in the middle of every of these 5 vortexes by which to clean the ecosystem and turn the ecosystem the other direction. We need to have an option, and with creating the highest standard of living imaginable for an unlimited population of people for an indefinite period of time. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. And next up, we have Tiffany Edwards.
Aloha. My name is Tiffany Edwards Hunt, and I am originally from California. My parents were Captain David Edwards, and my mother was Jeannie Beaumont, and my father was in the Navy, and my mother was a showgirl at Las Vegas. She was the Queen of Watusi at the Dunes Hotel. Their story is the Top Gun story. If you ever watched that movie, that was them at the Navy Postgraduate School in Monterey. And I am a love child from the 70s. I got my degree in communications and mass media at the University of Wyoming, my father's home state, and I spent 8 years there as a reporter. My job became a crime reporter. I covered the University of Wyoming student Matthew Shepard's death, and it basically set my career in motion. It also taught me a lot about equality and not having any tolerance for people who want to be discriminatory. So that life as a crime reporter was pretty hectic. I came here in 2001 on a vacation. My best friend from college was a traveling nurse over at the Kona Community Hospital, and I was 23, about to be 24, and hitchhiked all over this island, not aware of the Dana Ireland story. I fell in love with this island. I went back to Wyoming, and it was too brown for me, and I am a global Earth citizen. I could go anywhere, so I came here. I lost both my parents. It makes it very easy to set roots here, and I fell in love here. I've had babies here. My children only know Puna. I've been a newspaper reporter for you since 2001 here on the island, and I morphed into my own publisher. I have Big Island Chronicle. I've served the community in that capacity. In 2006, when I fell in love and started thinking about having a family, I gave up daily newspaper reporting, started working for Emily Naiole as a legislative aide, and I have that experience to offer you. After working for her, I became very vested in my community, much more so than I could be as a daily newspaper reporter. So you know me in different capacities because I've been sign waving for charter schools. I work on contract with Steve Hirakami. I have been involved in the Main Street Pahoa Association. I'm part of the Pahoa Booster Club. I believe in community. And I'm here because I am so tired of seeing the same issues recycling term after term. And I have so much passion for Puna and for my children to have a wonderful place to call home, and for you to grow old in, and for me to grow old in, and we need the equitable level of service that we're not getting with our $416 million operating budget. So I humbly ask for your vote on August 9th, and I just want to thank all of you for showing your part here in our democracy and being here to get educated about all of us. Thank you. Aloha.
Thank you, Tiffany. And remember to get your hard questions up to these two gentlemen here. And next up we have Roxanne Hampion, better known as RJ. You want this one?
I don't need it really. Aloha! Aloha! My name is Roxanne R.J. Hampton, and tonight I wrote the speech. My name is Roxanne R.J. Hampton, and I believe District 5 needs better and experienced representation. And I'm here this evening to ask for your vote. I'm a 20-year resident of Puna, and I've been active in the community all that time. I've been involved in 3 community gardens here in Pahoa, and I am proud to say that I am one of the people that brought the farmer market to Mukuu, and the Mukuu Farmers Market has grown to be the largest market in the state. I want you to know that I have legislative experience too. When I worked as a legislative assistant for Old District 5, I worked on some very important legislation, and that preserved our rights to build simply with single wall construction, to continue to use jalousie windows, and no insulation in under your lanai and in the ceiling. Ridiculous thing. I also worked hard to write an amendment to put back the alternative materials into our building code. Yeah. I understand there are so many bills and resolutions that a citizen can't keep on top of it all. That is why a council person is needed. I know that it's important and necessary to write well-crafted legislation. Well-considered laws are more persuasive and more significant and more able to follow, okay? This is how I will get the district needs. I have a track record of doing just that in government and out of government. What I really want to tell you today is that what I want to be is an ear for your ideas and your desires. I'm a council person that will seek input and guidance from local community experts on important issues that will come up. I want you to know that I will continue to respect and support our host culture and work to assist them in their efforts. I want you to really know today that it is from your involvement that you have in District 5 issues that the greater chance that we have to get the policies and legislations that benefit and reflect our island culture and needs and lifestyle. What? Well, 30 seconds. Here's my wind up. Many people are cynical about promises made by politicians at election time. I understand that, but what I want you to know is this. I plan to keep my promises. So I'm hoping that on August 9th, you will vote for Roxanne R.J. Hampton. Mahalo.
Thank you, RJ. And next up we have Tim Law.
Thank you very much, Leon. Hi, my name's Tim Law. There's been a few things said about me. I've had a hip replacement. That's why I stand at these forums, because these chairs do not do my back very good. I could go to Dr. Roy, but Anyways. My platform is a permitted ohana, 10,000 square feet or better, or an acre lot. Registered GPS tracking device put in your TV or personal items. Sorry about that, it's a little far away. A Kalapana Park with a kepi pond, more jobs, and small businesses. What I look at and some of the things that we do, our businesses have to put out a lot of money on the upfront. If we can stagger some of the taxes and make them over time, then we could still get the same amount of money, but our mom and pops businesses can proceed without a lot of money up front. So those are some of the things I look at. I try to look common sense. Let's see. I worry about our farmers a lot because I was a farmer also. And when you take away some of the stuff that the farmers use, and you say, oh, this is bad or that's bad, then you're hurting an industry. And you're putting people out of work. And there's scare tactics and stuff that people say about farming. And you talk to these professors and stuff like that, and they'll actually tell you some of the stuff there's no answer right now. We have to wait. We have to wait a little bit. And so if we have to wait, why would we hurt our farmers? I mean, Roundup's been around for a long time. Nobody's really died from it, but our backyard farmers are overdoing it. So, anyways, these are some of the things I think about, and I wouldn't want to hurt our farmers or anybody else on a business level. So business is what I'm for. Anyways, thank you very much.
Thank you. And now we have Daniel Paleka.
Aloha. Aloha. I just wanted to say mahalo to Steve, the Puna Pono Alliance, for allowing us to come here and share with you our manaho, a little bit of who we are. I had one speech written out what I wanted to say. But, Mayor Kim was very inspiring when he came in. And I wanted to share a little bit with you about my memories about Puna in this area and what I will bring with me if so honored with your vote. I remember Queen's Back. I was there, I used to swim in there. Felt that cool water. Used to surf down Poiki, Kaimu Beach. I remember that beautiful black sand beach. I remember swimming in the pond and the hoary bats that used to come around and come chase me, stuff. That's the stuff I remember about Puna. I'm connected to this man. And if so honored, I would never take it lightly. In deciding which way I would go on issues. This man is important to me. It's part of me. That's just what I wanted to say. But going back to a little bit about myself. My mom is here. She's originally from California. My dad was a native Hawaiian from Maui. I was born in Maui, moved here back in the 70s, came up through the educational system. Graduated from Hilo High. Also graduated from UH Hilo, fine university. I currently work for the UH system, the Hawaii Community College, managing the Auxiliary Services Department. While I met my wife, she's German, French ancestry. She speaks German, French. I speak German. My French not too good. But, in deciding who you want as your representative, I just want you to know this. I live, I work, and I'm gonna die. And I truly think and possess the qualities and the integrity to represent you. I never take things lightly. You know, a lot of my family, they're entertainers, sister on the radio, my dad was a wine musician. I was more of a soft-spoken type, work hard, build my own houses, you know. It was the hard work of the family, and they can all attest to that. But thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Daniel. And last but not least, we have Francis Puel.
Aloha, everyone. First of all, I want to thank the Puna Pono Alliance, the GO. I always get nervous, so before I get warmed up. The Puna Pono Alliance, GMO Free Hawaii, Sierra Club, Recycling Hawaii, the Community Rights Coalition, the Home Rule organizations, and the Babes Against Biotech. Because of you, I want to thank for us, because you are making it for us, the people, and not the corporations. So mahalo to all of you. Now, based on, oh, by the way, this is the flyer that's out there. If you want to see what I'm all about, it's GMO. I'm a non-GMO person. The Puna geothermal, I'm like not geothermal. Where's our solar? I keep saying, where's our solar? Let's make the solar fields, and if you make the solar fields, they will come. And this is not happening. So when you elect me, that will happen. But anyway, this is out there for you to see. So you need to know what type of person I am, because you don't know me. I'm a person of my word, always have been. I was, as many of you already know, I was born to a single mom on Oahu. She was born in Kona, as well as my grandmother was born in Honolulu. We come from the stock of plantation workers, which means we had to learn how to work hard. Either imprisonment or they would have been sent back to the Azores. As I grew up, my mom put food on the table and a roof over our heads, as she constantly reminded us. The thing is that we were not there for handouts, we were there to work. And so I grew up with appreciation of what we had and to be self-reliant. To the fact is, I always got boyfriends that showed me how to repair the cars. I knew how to tune up the engines. My grandfather taught me how to do fence posts on his farm. To be self-reliant. There was, and to learn how to make bread. There was, learn how to be self-reliant. Let the earth, the Aina, teach you and respect it. And so when I came here to Puna to live from Oahu, was caused by a major car accident. And it took me about 10 years to reclaim my health. And then I started growing things on my farm. And then I started doing, well, I'm going to do a guacamole business. And then I started paying attention to what's happening. And I started listening. So I'm a late bloomer. And I started to, this is what I suddenly realized. The candidates that we have in office, I never thought that they would do laws that would cause us harm. And now chicken skin, and they have. I promise you this, that this office, if you elect me, is your office. And I will never betray this, I know. And I will not betray you. Mahalo.
Thank you, Francis. And now we get to the round of questions. You have 90 seconds to answer. The first one goes to Cherish Almina. And the question is, Mayor Kanoe has told department heads of the county to refuse to meet with council members. How will you get the information you need to make your decisions?
How I get it now? Through gossip. You want to know the truth? You sit down at a luau and you let everybody well, you want to hear gossip, You want to know what's going on, you sit at a luau and you let everyone talk story with you. Hey, Cherish, you heard so-and-so? Oh, Cherish, you heard so-and-so? Oh, you know what? You know, heard? You know what? What we have to do is we have to make Billy Kinoy accountable for his own actions. I've known him very long. At one time, I called him a friend. He's now an acquaintance. And we sit on two very different sides of the table. He likes to sit on the fence. I like to choose a side. And I don't mean to offend any of you if you are one of his supporters. But I've taken over 30 issues to his office, and not one has come up. So that's how I would handle it. Thank you. Hope I answered the
Thank you.
question.
The next question goes to Daniel Cunningham. What is your thinking on the monitoring for hydrogen sulfide emissions from PGV? Is the Department of Health plan sufficient?
I wrote an ordinance, and we need to create a publicly owned utility. You could build with recycled aluminum cans a passive geothermal system 150 feet below Fern Forest is 90 degrees. If you cook it till nighttime when you need electricity, it can run through a turbine into a tower, and that 30 to 40 degree difference is enough by which you can drop it back into an aluminum tube that's 90 degrees Fahrenheit under the ground and fluctuate between a tower at 50 to 60 degrees back to 90 degrees. You can do a passive butane geothermal system from Fern Forest to approximately maybe 1,000 feet. And you could do it publicly without destroying the mineralization process. The hydrogen sulfide issue, I think, is a big mistake. It's not, it's just a band-aid approach to an inherently disastrous geothermal technology. It's destroying the mineralization. There could be gold, onyx, you name the precious mineral could be created under our very feet for our future progeny if we would look at the problem in a public way rather than a private venture. There's no difference between ORMAT and the Federal Reserve Act. It's publicly owned utilities only is going to give us sovereignty.
Thank you, Daniel. Next question goes on to Tiffany Edwards Hunt. And actually, it's a lot of questions, but it's all centered on the same thing. A Superfund PAC centered on Oahu gained notoriety for using dirty tricks to further the Honolulu Rail Initiative. These dirty tricks have been verified by a successful court case. Since this PAC represents construction unions, some speculate that the PAC favors projects like the incinerator that would provide construction jobs. The same PAC has contributed to several Big Island candidates and provided training. Here comes the question. Why is this PAC interested in the Big Island? How do you feel about the candidates from the Big Island accepting the training offered? And what is expected of these candidates in return?
Aloha. So this is in reference to my endorsement by the Carpenters Union, and there is a group that works with the union, and they are now called Progress Forward, I believe. They were referred to as the Pacific Resource Partnership, and it is very transparent. I have on my campaign spending report a non-monetary contribution from this group, now called Progress Forward, and it has to do with their airfare and their expenses in coming to visit with council candidates like myself. I did not go and take any of their trainings in Honolulu. They came to Pahoa to meet with me, and I shared with them my thoughts about different issues, and I have made no promises. And if you look at this, you will see that I am being very transparent in noting their travel to the island in my, it's considered a non-monetary contribution. It's the ultimate in transparency. So again, I've made no promises to anybody, and I will not be that sort of a representative. My representation is the people. That's who I understand that I'm seeking to represent the people. And as far as their tie to incineration, I have stated emphatically, publicly and privately in conversations with the Carpenters Union and with this group that I am emphatically opposed to incineration. I believe that we actually need an energy plan in the county. It's pretty schizophrenic what's going on. We have the mayor running up the flagpole again for incineration, and then you have the two gubernatorial candidates, Neil Abercrombie and David Ige, both promoting geothermal energy. Both do not work together.
Please
They're in
summarize.
conflict. Thank you.
Thank you, Tiffany. Now we have a question for R.J. Hampton. After you made the claim that Senate Bill 2274 included wording that included loopholes for more geothermal development in agriculture zones, Puna Pono Alliance carefully scrutinized the bill and found that not to be true. PPA informed you that it made absolutely no change to existing ordinances, yet you persisted in spreading the information. Please explain your action.
My actions come from an email, and I really want to tell you my position.
Please use your
What I'm going to say about Bill 2274 is that I looked at it and I saw some things that were not right. Legislation is supposed to be something that you write and that it's tight and that there's no room for ambiguity. When I started to review, which is my right to review this so-called sustainability bill, I realized that it was an effort to subvert the already special use permit that is allowed in the county. And the county allows much to go on under that special use permit. I also saw that although they responded to New Mexico as being the influence for this bill, I saw that there was no reference or corresponding to the New Mexico bill. You might as well call it a gut and replace. Whatever it is that I did to oppose Bill 2274, somehow or another, we had the power to turn around 16 politicians who voted yes. There's a reason why these people voted no. And when you find out that client interest politics was played in 2274, you will come and thank me and want to elect me because I thoroughly reviewed legislation.
Thank you. And this question is for Tim Long. It is rumored that you support GMO farming and production. If so, is it your desire to overthrow the county ban on added GMO crops?
There's a ban on the crops. I support Billy and what he's doing right now because that's the way it stands. But geothermal or GMOs, like I said, I support our farmers. Now there's scare tactics. I don't know everything, but I looked for corn, for example. I looked on everything I could find about corn. And all of it was just negative, 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 negative. I couldn't find anything positive about it. So there's stuff out there. If it's all negative, then where's the good? I don't understand. So to me, I don't...
No GMO is good.
GMOs, what kind of GMOs? What kind? I mean, we've got the virus. Are you going to shut them down? You don't have to buy the food. You don't have to do anything. Labeling's where you need to do it. If you shut down a business, how do you shut down a business like Monsanto or anybody else? You'd stop buying their product, right? That would put them out of business. But our farmers need support. Our farmers need it. When you're a farmer and you're trying to make a living.
No pollen.
Thank you.
Thank you. heating up, and actually it's getting cooler. This next question goes to Danny Paulette. On your brochure, you list 8 unions, yet you did not disclose any financial contributions to the county, unions or otherwise. Please explain.
That's an easy one. They all came after June 30th, I believe, which was the deadline. If I did receive any contributions. I believe there was one. AFL-CIO Center of Political Education, if you want to consider that union. You know, I was a union representative, and if it's going to be construed that unions are bad, they're not bad. I wear them with a badge of honor to be endorsed by them. Some other candidates over here that tried to seek their endorsement, but they chose me. HGA, UPW, firefighters, and SHOGO, International Laborers Union, because I stand for working families. If anybody thinks that supporting working families is bad, I don't know, man, because that's what drives our economy. That's who pay taxes and deserve the same representation that we all deserve. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Danny. And the last question was on Pupua. And the question is, what proof do you have that GMO is harmful? What proof do you have that organic is more nutritional? Why should you be allowed to force GMO off the shelf? These are not my questions on you.
Okay. Okay, thank you. If you just take a look at what Kauai is all about right now, it's just like Monsanto. You can go to the mainland. They are using herbicides, pesticides, and guess what? They're fighting now the Kauai Council, where the Kauai Council is saying, we don't want this spray near our schools. We don't want this spray near our water. If they were legitimate, they'd say, you know what, you're right. Even though we don't agree that this pesticides are poison, we'll abide. But they don't even do that because they figure they got the power, they got the control. It's just like the plantation mentality before, when they would pull a worker to work. Okay? If they didn't want to work, they'd bullwhip them. Well, it's the same type of mentality. So what is the proof? There are ongoing studies now. California University, I believe, has a study out now about autism. You know, when I was growing up, I was real fortunate that the majority of people that were being born were healthy. You take a look now and see all the diseases and illnesses and handicaps that children are being born with. You've got to ask yourself why. Okay, so there is proof. You just have to keep looking at it. And one of the problems is that we need to have health studies. And that's not being done by the county, by the state, or by the federal. And based on that, you've got to ask why. Thank you.
Stay right there. Stay right there. What a colorful panel we have here, don't you agree? Yes. How about another round of applause? Okay, now I want to hear a slam bam 2 minutes, convincing them why they should vote for you and not the other candidate. So come on, get lively, man.
Okay. Why vote for me? You need to know that aside from being partly raised by my grandparents in Kamuela on their farm, I've always had to work for my food. And based on that, with a hardworking mother, if we couldn't afford it, we didn't get it. So when I worked full-time, part-time, and on-call, working from 8 to 18 hours a day just to pay that mortgage, I've had many jobs, professional jobs. Believe it or not, I was a union shop steward for Local 556 on Oahu, including a union negotiator for them for the Halikoa Hotel. I've also been a taxi coordinator for Oahu, and I've had hundreds of dependent and independent taxi cab drivers for Charlie's Taxi and Tours. So I've had both professional hats. I've had the professional hat of being a manager, also as an employee, and also as a union representative and shop steward. I've come up the hard way, I've learned. And this is what you need to know from me, is that if you give me that opportunity to represent you, I will work hard. I don't have all the answers. I don't claim to have all the answers. But I'm going to listen to you. I talked to a researcher, a scientist from Oahu, and he says, you know, Franny, because I brought to him about the problems about the rats that we have in our island and destroying our crops and destroying our birds. I says that they don't want to listen to me. He says, as a scientist, you need to listen to the people. You are the front and know, not only do you know what the problem is, but you also have the solutions. And that's what I promise you, is that I am going to work for you. You are my boss. Not the mayor, not the governor, not no one else. You are my boss.
Thank you.
Okay, then sit down. I gotta get something in there too. Next up, closing remarks from Danny Paleta.
Daniel, it's all good. Why should you vote for me? Now, I believe I have the experience. I'm a business owner. I host people from all around the world. A lot of them come from Europe. I also host Kamainas at my bed and breakfast. But currently I'm working with Hawaii Community College, and I really enjoy that. But just to let you know, if so honored with your vote. Like Granny said, it's a good point, and that's true. We work for you.
And you are pro incinerator and pro GMO.
Can I finish my statement, ma'am? Thank you. Calamari. We, all of us here, we all have the good intentions, and we know that. But why should you vote for me? I'm a good negotiator. I've done it with the union, done it workmen's comp cases, done it in working with the state, county divisions, when grievances were made. You got to work together. And I'm good at continuing those relationships. When I was in Lehua JCs, a lot of those people are in important positions today. It's those relationships that I use in my business, in continuing to work with Hawaii Community College, and in my whole professional life, because that's important to me. That's the local style. Is building on those relationships and continuing them. Some might say, oh, using the relationship. Hey, if you want to get stuff done, you have to be able to relate to people and build relationships. Concerning geothermal, I sat down with guys. I go and sit down with them. I also go to PGV. I go to Helco. It's that welcoming that I can go to those places. That's what I believe is valuable. Because I'm welcome. Because I believe I'm professional. And please vote for me. Mom.
Closing remarks now from Tim Long.
Why should you vote for me? Okay. I went down, like everybody else, I've gone to PTV or gone somewhere, talked to farmers, I've helped farmers understand some of these things. I've been a farmer, I've been a union carpenter for a long time. I've also done a lot of other things. One thing I know is I have to work for you. How do I work for you? Well, I have to go to community meetings in your subdivision. I've gone down to the Uncle Roberts, asked them. They are actually going to help me with a Hawaiian brother to see me in the direction they would like to go. It's working with people is what it's all about, and not me you're not voting for Tim Law, basically. You're voting for my ideas of helping you. And that's what I want to do, is I want to help our community grow in the right way, not just throw a bunch of jobs or GMOs or anything else, but in the right way without hurting businesses. You know, if we stand out, if government stands out of the way, sometimes business will take care of themselves. But if we put a bunch of labels and a bunch of things on them, we're just hurting ourselves. We need to think about things. And that's what I'm about. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. And closing remarks from Roxanne, RJ Hunter.
I'm committed to Pono. But what I'm not committed to, and I know a lot of people are going to probably think that I am wrong in doing
The mic's not on, RJ.
My mic on and I get more time.
There you go.
I am committed to Pono, but I am not committed to someone that would create piliquea amongst the candidates. I am speaking today about Tiffany Edward Hunt, who held a roast on July 18th, and instead of her friends hosting and roasting her, she roasted all of the candidates. She denied that this man was born in Hawaii. She had comedians that made fun of us. That's not the way roasts go. I don't care if you don't want to hear this. Pono is not putting your fellow candidates in your newspaper that don't want to be in your newspaper. And when you do put them in a newspaper, you can't even see the candidate. But if you peruse this newspaper, you will find that you can't see our faces, that she manipulated the layout, and I am sick of this woman, and I have a right to say it. Thank you. You don't have to vote for me. You're changing up even trying to take it. You don't get away from me, Freddie.
Hey.
I'm not out of control.
Okay, then sit down and relax. Sit down and relax. Okay. Hey, I'm telling you something. I'm moderating here. Well, relax. Get out of here.
Oh, you're not throwing me out. This is a trap. This is a trap. I'm not getting thrown out. And I hope that you play.
Oh, you're leaving voluntarily.
Yes, I am.
Yes.
And you are full of shit.
And how do you like that? Vote for me. That was the most effective closing speech I've heard in my whole political career. And believe me, I've been to many. If you want to vote for that man, go right ahead. This is America. This is America. This is America. And you had your say. Okay, we're gonna go to. Hopefully she's calm by now. Tiffany Edwards Hunt.
I just want to say thank you all for coming today, and it's really unfortunate some of the things that happen when you are in running for public office. I think this is why a lot of people are afraid to run. It's because of fear of intimidation, and everything that was stated is fact. I had a roast for Puna, and I believe in using humor as therapy, and this has been a real arduous journey running for office, and there's been a lot of passive-aggressive things and a lot of really terrible things stated on the internet. I was actually called unethical because my father had a military record. Okay, it was stated that I am unethical because he was a bomber pilot. He served our country in Vietnam, and I had nothing to do with that. That is my father, and I'm actually proud that he was my father. And for me to be a newspaper reporter, I'm one of those working families, okay? I do not rely on the system, and neither does my husband. We work very hard. We've built our our stores, our store in town here, and we have a newspaper that I built from the ground up, and I'm very proud of it. And I've actually, as far as the political coverage goes, I've actually put myself at arm's length in order to be a candidate, and I'm proud to say that. I live in a very honorable way, and if anybody wants to question that, so be it, because I can look at myself in the mirror every night and be proud that I actually am running a very positive campaign. And as far as anything humorous that was said, nothing is meant to hurt someone or make them feel bad about themselves. And like I said, I'm very proud of my father, his military record. I'm very proud of my mother. People can say really hurtful things, but guess what? I'm here to represent the people, and I'm willing to take 8 years of that, okay? Because I know what it takes and what we need in an effective leader who's rational and reasonable and sane. And as I meet with you going around door to door, I'm thinking of the policies. You don't want any more geothermal development? Guess what? A moratorium until we get our health study or evacuation route in our emergency room. You don't want an incinerator? Guess what? I have ideas in my mind about how to implement zero waste policy. And in summary, I humbly ask for your vote on August 9th. Thank you.
God, do you think I volunteered for this? I'm going to check my sanity level. Next we have 2 minutes closing from Daniel Cunningham.
Thank you. 2008, Ordinance 08181, the lowest law enforcement authority for cannabis ordinance, or LEAP, was legislated by our county council. And there has not been the proper appreciation of the lawsuit filed. I wrote a new ordinance entitled The Solution to the Disregard of LEAP. And if elected, I intend to legislate this ordinance to basically legalize cannabis ad infinitum. We need to be able to grow this crop industrially as well as medicinally for a sound job market for our KQs, for our future. This guayabee, everybody's heard of guayabee. And if you could imagine a plant that was highly valuable, that could grow as well as guayabee, I think you'd get an idea of what it could do for Puna. And we also have to solve our trash pile problem and our Fukushima problem. And this is what this ordinance is all inclusively. It puts a sign on the door of SIPU, State and County Commercial Tesla Exchange Bank and Utilities / Council 13 Grandmothers. This is another title for the disregard of LEAP. The idea of building a floating mega city in the ocean for an unlimited population of people that basically is a circle. There's no written law or standing army. It is a matriarchy. This council of 13 grandmothers can create a $7 billion commercial credit line similar to the Bank of North Dakota. Off of the $500 million in net asset value, you could, through fractional banking, you could create a $7 billion commercial credit line. And by federal grant request 1033, you could get decommissioned military ships for the job opportunity that needs to come by colonizing the ocean and turning this trash into treasure. If we don't, we're finished. We don't have a future for our children if we don't clean up this mess. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now, last but not least, who went first is Cherish Almeida.
Well, mahalo to all of you guys who came and are taking part in all of these forums. We really appreciate your time. I know just for me to get out here half the time is a challenge. So for you folks to have to do it, I know you're taking away from something also, so mahalo. Why you should vote for me and not for any one of these other candidates? You know, I've been a teacher for many of years, but what I'm learning through, what I've learned is that I'm teachable. And out in the public is, you have a certain persona about yourself. People perceive you one way, but behind closed doors, who are you? And I can honestly tell you, I'm the same here as I am behind closed doors. I have nothing to hide. My family is very important to me. They come first. Unfortunately, you guys come second. And my concerns are geothermal. They need to be accountable for their actions. The fines they are being fined today, they write them off as a tax write-off. Let's fine them $1 million for every time they act up. You know? Let's see how much they mess up after that. They're here. Everyone tells me, well, they're here. They're not going nowhere. Well, if you have that kind of mentality, you're right. They're not. But I'm here to say, as when I'm elected, my purpose is to see that they are out of here. I don't want them in my back door. And I hear this from everyone. So it is a concern of the people, not just you who come to the forums, but those people who can't come to the forums, the people with grandchildren and little children who can't bring their children here. They feel they can't be represented here. But there's so many reasons. No GMO, no more building infrastructure in Pahoa town, but let's take it to Mountain View. Let's take it to Volcano, where they need it. I just want to encourage you guys, if you're voting for me, you're voting for honesty, you're voting for integrity, and you're voting for something more than yourselves. So be encouraged, come out and join me. Mahalo.
Thank you, Church. And how about that? 7 candidates for District 5. Give them another round of applause. And we're thankful that we have so many candidates and what a colorful group. And we're going to transition now to the State House representatives. Would you please take the stage? And remember, your questions state related, okay? Hard state related questions. Okay.